Hi, I am Laura, and I will be talking about the first aspect of the REMBI metadata guidelines for bioimaging data. In this RDM Byte, you will learn what data should be collected to describe the study and how to store study metadata. This first module of REMBI metadata describes a study and should include the study type, description, and general dataset information, which I will describe in more detail in the following slides. The study metadata can be separated into three main sections: study type, study description, and general dataset information. Ideally, the study type will be part of an ontology. You can look up the main subject of your study using a tool like OLS to find a suitable ontology. This will help others to see where your study fits within the wider research area. For example, imagine you are conducting a study related to mitosis. You can search, select the most appropriate category, and look at the tree to check that your study fits within this ontology. The study description should include the title of the study, a brief description, and any related publication details, such as authors, title, and DOI. If you are gathering metadata pre-publication, you can fill in the publication details later, or enter a draft title or the name of the journal you plan to submit to. Try to keep the format of the metadata file simple, and don't use split or merged cells. I find it helpful to split the metadata into sections. However, in plain text files, you can't use things like bold type or underlines to indicate what is a heading and what isn't. In this table, I have left a blank cell next to study description. This is to indicate that it is a heading and everything underneath it is within this section. If you don't like this way of working, you can just leave out the headings and remove these rows. I have continued my previous table and added new fields to include general dataset information. This can include the names of contributors and the repository where the data is or will be stored. State the license under which you intend to make the data available, and if you're using a schema for structuring your metadata. It's worth checking if the repository requires a particular license or schema. Any other general information with respect to the study can be included here, but try to keep this broad as more detailed information should be included in other sections of the metadata. If you plan to submit your data to a public repository, they may provide a template describing all relevant fields for the submission and may be more specific to the type of data you are collecting. Knowing what metadata is required before you start your experiments means you can collect the data as you go, rather than trying to find the details later on. If you don't have a specific template, I recommend using a delimited text file format. These file types can be read and edited using a spreadsheet or text editors, but are not restricted to a particular proprietary software. Store your metadata file somewhere it is easy to access and edit. For example, if you are storing data related to this study in a directory with subfolders, you may want to store the study metadata at the top of the directory tree. If you are working with collaborators, make it available to them so they can check details. If you use an electronic lab notebook, you may want to link or upload the study metadata file to relevant entries. Please see links to additional resources alongside this video, as well as other RDM Bytes in this series.